What's going on, guys? So in this video, we're talking about one that I was very excited to get when it first got announced. I had very high hopes for, and admittedly, it's not exactly what I expected it to be. My first impressions on this fragrance kind of threw me for a loop. I was a little underwhelmed, but after spending some time with it, some full wearings, some test sprays, and kind of giving it a full chance, I've actually changed my thoughts quite a bit, and I'm ready to discuss with you exactly what I think about Paco Rabanne's Invictus Platinum, the newest Invictus flanker at the recording of this video. So stay tuned. So in regards to this scent, the first time I sprayed it, it actually had kind of a cough medicine, Robitussin type of medicinal bitter type of quality. Now, admittedly, the very next time I sprayed it on my skin, I didn't get near as much of that. So it's one of those things where I kind of had to acquire the taste, if you will. For the top note, I think the way the absinthe, the grapefruit, and some of the green notes just, it comes off quite bitter on my skin. But as time has progressed with more sprays and everything and adjusting to the scent profile, it does come across as a lightly bitter, more tart grapefruit with a little hit of the absinthe to kind of get, that really gives it that bitterness. I really think it's the absinthe that's doing it. And then as it starts to settle in from that top note, once you get to the early stages of the heart and the early dry down, it's all about minty green freshness. It's very aromatic the whole time. The lavender pretty much hits you from the top blast all the way through the very end of the fragrance's life. There's lavender at its core, and it's kind of based around that. I would say the mint, lavender, and cypress are the main players here, whereas you don't really get a lot of patchouli. There is a nice tone of it. It does provide a little bit of an earthy green nuance with a little bit of a slight creamy feel. There's nothing really chocolatey or too dark about this patchouli. The mint here is more mint leaf than spearmint gum type of smell, or spearmint, minty toothpaste. Doesn't come across super synthetic in that manner. You do smell the Invictus DNA in the backdrop here. It's actually one that I did think would grow on me. That first impressions, like I said, underwhelmed me, and it absolutely did. I've actually really been enjoying this. At the recording of this was my scent of the day earlier today, and I gotta say, it's not necessarily impressed me. I still think there's others in the line that have been out for a while that are better than this. This is not one that I would advise, even though I paid retail. I would say maybe wait till discount. It hits discounters a little bit, and you can get 20, 30 bucks off of it, because it might underwhelm you when you first smell it. This is definitely not a blind buy safe scent profile at all. Because like I said, my initial experience with this was, it kind of threw me for a loop. It was so bitter and medicinal. It was very strange. It was an aroma I had never really encountered from a fragrance, especially one that's based in a line that's known to be sweet aquatics. It's a sweet aquatic DNA, which you do get a little bit of in here. Like I said, it does tie to the line. I do smell that sweet aquatic Invictus vibe, more so in the heart of the fragrance, not in that top note. That top note is kind of in a league of its own. While I wouldn't call it a terrible top note, it was just a surprising top note at first, and then it's one that did progressively get better over time, like I said before. So all in all, it is slightly more unique than I anticipated it to be. It's not the most mass-appealing fragrance in the world, though it is a mass-appealing fragrance at its core. There's facets and elements to the way this is blended that kind of make it not necessarily a more challenging wear, but not as typical mass appealing as you're probably anticipating Invictus Platinum to be. In regards to performance, it's lights out. It's what you would expect from the Invictus line. The only one that's not a great performer is 2018's Invictus Aqua. And that one's even an above average performer. It's not a weak fragrance or even an average performer. It's an above average performer. It's just not beastly and really stout like your Invictus, Invictus Intense, Invictus Legend, Invictus Victory, great performer. It's the only one in the line I don't have. I've only sprayed it one time, only smelled it one time. I just don't own it right now. But this one, you can anticipate 8+ hours solid easily. In my experience, it's been going in the 10-hour range. I have a feeling if I haven't been taking showers at the 10-hour mark, it probably would go into the 12-hour mark. So I would say the safe range for this is 8 to 10 hours. That's what I believe you can typically expect, because I've gotten, at minimum, the high end of that range. Like I said, if I would wait a few more hours to take my shower when I do wear it, or to, spray, scrub off that test spray, I have a feeling it would continue to go into the 12-hour mark, because it's still got some pretty good strength to it even at the 10-hour mark. It's not, a super faint skin scent that's almost fading away, even at the 10-hour mark. So longevity, if you're looking for something that's going to go all through your day, this one's definitely going to do that. Projection is definitely more on the heavy side. While not a room filler, it's definitely beyond arm's reach. This is well beyond what, my 2.5, 3-inch, 3-foot arm, 3-inch, 2.5, 3-foot arm is. It definitely reaches out, and if you're the heavy sprayer type, you're going to choke yourself and others around you, because it's got a lot of lavender in it, and lavender can come across very cloying, and it has kind of that bitterness in the top. So be wary if you're a heavy sprayer. Maybe start off a little bit lighter than that, a little bit more moderate. In the 5 to 7 spray range is what I typically do on most fragrances, and that's the same here. 5 to 7 sprays is plenty in my experience. Those of you that typically don't even spray that heavy, yeah, you'll only need 2 or 3 sprays. If you're the type that's extremely conservative with the amount of sprays, especially when it's a stronger fragrance, you'll be totally fine. The sillage on this one, again, once that strong projection starts to settle in, it's a moderate sillage, moderate to mild. Not really strong, but it's definitely not a weak trail. There is a nice scent bubble. You will get random, moderately dense whiffs of the fragrance hours and hours into the life. I would believe it to have a pretty strong trail. I haven't gotten any feedback from anyone besides my wife, so I can't really comment too much on how strong of a trail it is, but I can tell you based off of what I'm getting throughout the day, how it hits me randomly, it's definitely more in that moderate to mild range, where it's got a little bit of oomph to it, but not too much. It's not weak, it's not really strong, kind of falls in the middle. That's why I say sillage is moderate to mild. So beastly longevity, pretty much beastly projection, and pretty stout, approachable, but not overwhelming sillage. My final thoughts on Invictus Platinum. It's not as good as I hoped it to be, though it is good. It is a good fragrance. I'm not going to sit here and say it is not. It's definitely one that you need to spray more than one time. A test strip's not going to tell you the whole story, and a single spray one time on your skin may not be enough. It was definitely not enough for me to let me know, because honestly, had I tested this one before, because I blind bought this, had I tested it first and only did one spray one time on skin, I wouldn't have bought it. That's why I don't own Invictus Victory, because I did one spray one time on skin at Sephora, and it underwhelmed me. It was good. It was actually better than this, I believe. But it wasn't what I hoped it would be. Obviously, I'm going to spend more time with that one. I will get Invictus Victory at some point. I'm not saying it was bad or I thought it was bad, but it didn't grab me like, you need this. First time I sprayed this, it was the same thing. I was a little disappointed. Like, damn, I paid retail for this from Macy's too, because I was so excited. When I get really excited about a fragrance, I have no problems paying retail, even on a blind buy, and that was the case here. But I do find that as I spent time with it, I found myself enjoying it more and more. The wearing experience beyond just one test spray, of actually having several sprays and my typical spray routine where it's around my neck, on my chest, top of forearms, all that stuff, it was very enjoyable. I actually think this is a very good fragrance. If I was to judge it based off of that first impressions, it wouldn't be this rating, but now that I've spent time with it, I do think it's a 7.5 out of 10. I know that was a bit wordy, and it took a little bit to get to the rating here in the final thoughts section, but I had quite a bit of final thoughts about this one, because it was kind of a roller coaster ride for me in how I felt about the fragrance from the very beginning to now, because I do think as long as you test it out first, I think you'll be okay. I think there's going to be people that enjoy this. I don't recommend buying it at retail on a blind buy like I did. I blind buy so you don't have to. I pay retail sometimes so you don't have to. And I would advise wait for this to hit discounters. I'm not saying it's going to be cheap or anything, but get to where you can get it for sub $80 for a 100 ml. That's typically what you'll see on newer release designers from Paco Rabanne. When they hit discounters, it'll be in 70 some odd dollar range. Maybe you can get a tester where it says Invictus Platinum on it. Go that route. I think it's definitely worthy in the $70 to $80 price point. I don't think it's worthy at the like 109 I paid or 105, whatever retail is. I paid retail from Macy's. But turns out I do find it to be very good. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on the newest flanker in the Invictus line from Paco Rabanne Invictus Platinum. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have tried this? What do you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you absolutely love it? Do you absolutely despise it? I have a feeling there's going to be a little bit of everybody in those categories. I feel like it's going to be a full spectrum of people that are meh about it either way, and some that are passionately pass or, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel like it's one of those fragrances that kind of covers the whole spectrum. For me, at first, it was meh, kind of indifferent either way, but I'm leaning more to the absolutely love it. Not quite there yet, but where I stand right now, I mean, hell, I gave it a very good rating, you know. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on Invictus Platinum and you give it a spray now, I don't know. There's a chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.